Hey guys, I'm going to apologize right off the bat. It's 4th of July, so it might get a little noisy every once in a while here, but for any of you that saw my first video on chicken strips you must suck in the twisties, we're going to do a chicken strips 2. You must suck in the twisties, right? No. Anyway, the reason I'm going to do the second one is there's been, well, it had a lot of interest, but there was also a lot of, I made the video really quick out of like frustration of seeing chicken strip comments and whatever else on all the different sites. So anyway, we're going to talk a little more in depth on chicken strips. I'm going to show you a couple examples on my bikes of the chicken strips, right? So let me flip this around. And first off, we'll look at Ashley's bike. So Ashley got a new CB 500. And like I said, she's a beginner rider. And her chicken strips are pretty big, but they're getting smaller. But now, it doesn't matter. She's doing great in the twisties. She's averaging 15 miles an hour faster than the suggested speed in the twisties. If the speed limit's 30, 35, she's doing 45, 50. I mean, she's doing fine. You do not need to go any faster than that. Do not push yourself past your comfort zone. I mean, that's very critical. So we're going to go over to my bikes. And you see my CB 1000 here. Now, that's a naked bike, right? Sport naked. Totally different seating position than my CBR 1000 over there. So let's look at the chicken strip. I was riding on the same roads yesterday. Same roads on both of these. You look at the CBs, there really isn't a chicken strip on it. Maybe just a little bit there where it didn't quite scrub it off, but so I was getting pretty close to the edge of the tire on this bike, which when you get that close to the edge of the tire, or do get on the edge of the tire completely, what's going to happen? You have no room for error. You do anything, a quick maneuver, jerk your handlebars, hit the brakes a little too quick, anything that could cause that tire to get over on the edge further, and it's going to go away. Now my tires still have a little bit of play left on them, even though I'm basically on the edge, because you can go a little over the edge on the back as long as your front's still good. And I mean, the front's still pretty decent. I mean, the front's got quite a ways to go before she hits the edge of the tire, right? Probably a ½ inch. So that's what we're going to talk about there. But what I wanted to show you is same road, riding it way faster, probably 10 miles an hour faster on the CBR than the CB, right? You look at the chicken strip, there's a good 1/4 inch chicken strip there. It didn't get onto the edge of the tire. Same size back tires, 190 55 17s, right? The CBR, I probably average 10 miles an hour faster around the curves than I do on the CB. Now both these bikes, riding that fast to get rid of the chicken strips down to where they're at, you're probably, well, I know you're riding faster than what the law would like you to ride. Put it that way. I'm still within my 75% that I talk about. Never ride over 75% of your ability, because if you do, you have no room for error, just like if you get too far on the edge of your tire. So the CBR, I've got a lot more room for error, but I'm actually riding it faster. Now, why is that? Why, with the same size tires, same size engines, I mean, the bikes are basically the same other than the seating position and everything. Even the engine, because that's an 09 and this is 19. Same generation engine in both these bikes. So anyway, why is it? On the CB, I ride it lazier because it's a relaxed seating position. You're upright and everything else. The seat's kind of softer. It's way harder to move back and forth on the bike. So I generally just lean my upper body into the corners, and I don't really lean as much with my body, so the bike leans a little more. I get onto the edge of the tire. On the CBR, being in the attack position that you're in, the seat being hard and smooth and slippery, and the pegs being higher, your knees being up higher, it's much easier to move around on the bike. So on the CBR, I'm just naturally sliding my butt off the side of the seat and leaning over to where my head is basically kissing the mirror. My body's completely off the bike, making the bike so it doesn't have to lean as far, but yet it's going faster through the curve. Now, that is what I talked about in the first video that will help you go faster riding correctly, but you're gonna have bigger chicken strips. That's why you don't need to worry about your chicken strips. Somebody with chicken strips, or no chicken strips, might be riding lazy like me on my CB, and somebody with chicken strips might be frickin' riding hard and hauling ass, but has chicken strips because they're riding properly. So I wanted to talk about that, to kind of explain that a little more in depth. Now, these roads I'm riding on, they're twisties, but they're not tight twisties like you get out in the Smoky Mountains. They're a lot longer twisties. So to get rid of your chicken strips on these roads, no matter how you're riding, you're, like I said, the law probably isn't very happy with you. I mean, you're, if you crash, you're gonna get hurt. So please ride within your abilities. Don't worry about your chicken strips. Now the other thing we're talking about is, like I said, these two bikes have the same tire. Same size, same profile, same everything. Now, they weigh about the same. The bikes weigh about the same. I mean, the bike's really, pretty comparable, right? Other than the seating position. But we had talked about different size tires too. Somebody brought that up. Different size tires make it harder or easier to get rid of your chicken strips. Different profile tires are gonna make it harder or easier to get rid of your chicken strips. A really wide, flatter profile tire is gonna be way easier to get rid of your chicken strip than a super narrow, rounded tire, because the roundness of the tire is going to make it harder to get over on the side. You're going to have to lean a lot further. So that's another thing. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it anymore. I just wanted to show the two different bikes and the two different riding styles were the two main things today. There's way too many variables to really get into the chicken strip thing that this video would end up being 2 hours long. So, but this is just an example. Two pretty close bikes other than Sport Naked and Super Sport. The seating position is basically the difference, and the way you ride them. Now, that makes a difference in your chicken strip. So we can go on and talk about all sorts of other things that make a difference, but these are same size tires, everything like that, just kind of showing you how it's easier to get rid of the chicken strip on this bike because I ride it lazy than it is getting rid of the chicken strip on this bike, riding it the right way and hard. So that'll do it for this video. Like I always say, adopt, don't shop, and we will catch you on the flip side.